from retail, physical, brick and mortar to e-commerce, what are the differences? I mean, it's clear there are differences, but just talk to us a bit about that.
There's not the same limitation for space. You can only allocate stock to a store capacity, and you really need to get it right. So you need to have the right stock in the right areas in the store, in the back office as well, because if you miss an opportunity and it's not in your back office, it's a couple of days of delivery. So it's much tougher to ensure that you have that. With online, it's limitless. It's as big as your warehouse. And as big as the capacity that you have to take photographs for. I'm going to use T-shirts as an example again. A store may be able to stock 20 T-shirts. Online, we can have 150. Also, we have the data. And this is why I pivoted to e-commerce. I can analyze what everyone's doing and their browsing and how they're behaving on the website and use that data to better inform me for the next season. When I go back to Amsterdam, I will be looking at fall 25 collection. In a month's time, I'll be looking at spring 26. So you're always ahead. So you need as much information and data to make the informed decision for the next season.
So it's changed. It's completely changed the nature of your work, of business. And so 2020, COVID, how did that impact you as a consultant, director for e-commerce? What were the changes you saw as well, pre, during, and then post-COVID when it comes to kind of e-commerce, e-retailing?
What you saw was e-commerce was growing steadily, double-digit growth on average every single year, and retail was growing steadily as also. But there was a mix predominantly leaning towards retail, but e-commerce was the fastest growing channel. When stores were closed, e-com's growth was phenomenal. So you saw a shift of behavior of consumers who predominantly shopped offline, now moving to online because it was all you had. Also, expenditure wasn't there. So those who were still working were saving a lot more because there's nothing to spend their money on. So they were shopping a lot more. So it was kind of like a boom period for e-commerce in many places. The complexity is once the stores are open, many of us believed we had now acquired a new form of consumers. So this boom was going to continue. What happens when the stores opened, e-commerce dropped. And for the first time in my career in e-commerce, a lot of retailers were struggling with growth, single-digit growth. Some of them were even declining. That was quite difficult, in fact, actually, because it was the first time I'd seen downturn in the industry. And a lot of Amazon, I believe they were going to build 26 new warehouses. And Amazon's not one of my favorite companies, but they are one of the market leaders in what they've done in such a phenomenal way. When they're saying they're going to build 26 warehouses and then post-COVID, they're like, no, we're not going to build them. It kind of shows you how optimistic we all were. And I'm not sure if you're aware of what's happening with Nike. The previous CEO who came from eBay, he bet hard on, we call it D2C. He really believed
direct to consumer.
Direct to consumers. He really believed that was the way forward because of the boom of the consumers and that they saw all this wave, but we got a bit arrogant. We should have understood that they're here because there's nowhere else to shop. So there was a little bit of downturn, and I think we're now steadily moving up into the right direction.
Also probably because they were excited just to go back out and you know, be out, see people, touch things, and you
look in hindsight, it's like it's obvious, but at the time we just hadn't seen that explosion. It was incredible. I
didn't think it would explode that much, and the reason I say it is because we were at home. So yes, that was the only outlet. You could only shop online, but at the same time we weren't going anywhere. So what were we buying clothes for?
TikTok videos, Instagram, getting ready to go outside. I think there was on and off curfews. So you could go out between certain hours. So in those times you could go out, you wanted to make sure you looked your best, or you were seeing so many new trends, you were trying new things out. So we were consuming so much. And I think in that consummation of what we were consuming, we were inspired. And I think the aspiration is what led to the increase in sales across multiple different elements.
The content, I mean, you know, what you've just said has brought out the idea that content is so important to people these days. People will wear clothes just to, you know, shoot videos and look good and for people to see. And do you see that as playing a big role in your industry? Like when I say your industry, fashion, generally?
I worked with a small Dutch company, and they've been running for about 3 years, like five ladies. A lady called Florina owns the brand. It's called Floral. And they do sustainable basics. Just do core classics for the wardrobe, and then they have seasonal colors. they were able to get organically, I think Hailey Baldwin, Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner to wear it organically. So they didn't pay for them. They all wore the items. The brand went viral. So what you see is just, well, they have an enormous platform, but for them to wear it out of choice and just be seen wearing those products, it brought in a wave of consumers. So the platform
that's
in regards to
endorsement you can't pay for. Yeah.
And organically. So content is imperative. But the audience also understands authenticity. So if you are obviously selling something to an audience that's not interested, they're not gonna. You can't force viral. You know, there's multiple pieces on how something can go viral, but you can't define whether something is going to
work or not.
Yeah. You take your chances and you hope for it, but you don't know if you're going to get it.
So talking of taking chances, I mean, it's not a chance. You talked about the fact that, you know, you do your research. The beautiful thing about digital and online is that you actually have access to data.
Yes.
But when you do your planning based on, you know, the online retail world, how much, let's say, succeeds and how much fails, if I can put it that way?
We have a KPI called sell-through. And sell-through. And what that shows is how many items have you sold through in a season. You have a full price sell-through. So how much have we sold at full price within this season? And then what have we sold at markdown for your total season? Full season usually lasts between 8 and 12 weeks. That's your full price season. So you usually would like to target a sell-through of between 60 and 70%. If you've achieved that, that's a good season.
Good. Okay.
Anything lower than 50, so if you're at 40 and 30, it's a bad season. Because ultimately what that means, you need to sell more of your stock at markdown, which means your profitability and your margin is lower. Some brands are really smart with this. They go for a full price sell for 30%, knowing they're going to sell most of their volume at markdown, because markdown is what gets the consumers in. But I would say a healthy premium luxury brand, you're looking for 60 or 70%.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the key KPI to let you know if you've done well.